Hello and welcome back to the Natural Wellness Tips Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Jennifer Shaw. I'm super excited as always to be here with you. I'm pretty pumped to talk to you about what I'm going to talk to you about today. It's kind of funny because it's not really like a positive topic, but we're going to take a little bit of a positive spin on it. And we're going to talk about lies. And it was a really interesting topic to dive into. So I'll get into it in just a second, but let's first start by saying thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate it if you click on that link on iTunes and leave a review for me. It means the world to me. It helps me know what you guys like, what you want to hear more of, what you want to hear less of. It also helps to get other people to see the podcast and get this message out to more people. So I truly, truly appreciate it. If you enjoy this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Also, just so you guys know, the yoga program is still out there. If you haven't had a chance to check it out and get the free download, Learning How to Perfect Your Vinyasa at Home, it is www.naturalwellnesstips.info/vinyasa flow. So www.naturalwellnesstips.info/vinyasa flow. There's a free gift for you there, and then you can check out my yoga program. So make sure you head over and check that out. Also, the links in the details if you want to see that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Well, let's dive in. So just a little over a week ago, I discovered a lie that was being told to me for about 6 months, and it was a pretty big lie. It was huge. It was a huge lie, and it was somebody who I thought was very close to me. And I think, lies are told on all different scales, right? But a lot of times, the ones that hurt most are the ones told by people within our inner circle. And they're ones that are carried on for a longer period of time and have larger ramifications, right? So many of us have been lied to in different ways, shapes, or forms by our parents, by our friends, by our significant others, all different scenarios, right? And lies are hard because they rock you, and you start to question things about yourself, like, well, what did I do? How did this happen to me? Or, maybe you're a person that's kind of had patterns where you attract certain people that tend to lie more. Just there's so much to it. And what I kind of discovered is I've really kind of paused in life and like reevaluated some things and really delved into like, what is this lie teaching me? What have I learned from it? And then I decided it would be fun to kind of ask some of my friends and family in my Facebook world and hear from other people about lies they've been told. And I did kind of some research, not like true research, but I had a little survey that I had a handful of people fill out anonymously. So I don't know, who said what, and that's not really the important part here. But the interesting thing was there was a lot of correlations in all of them. They all were lied to by someone very close to them. They all hinted at the fact that they had an idea they were being lied to, and they didn't necessarily fully trust their gut. And the other thing they all had in common is they all survived, right? They all survived. And every single one of them that filled the survey out for me, and including myself, realizes that by surviving these lies or living through these lies, whatever they be, maybe they're infidelity or cheating or multiple relationships or drugs, loss of job and they didn't tell you, like so many different things they can be, right? But whatever they were is people who were able to move past it, recognized their role in almost like codependency of allowing these situations to perpetuate. If that makes sense. So we don't have any control over another person's moral compass, right? Their morals and their right and wrong is completely theirs to have. So it might not match ours, right? And they might not think they did anything wrong in the lies that they told, and that's okay. That's their freedom of choice to have that feeling, that decision, right? But what we can control is our response to the lie. So usually the first thing that happens is the reaction. We have our immediate quick reaction where we are angry and frustrated and maybe say things that we truly mean but can be harsh, right? And that's okay. Say them. I'm not saying don't say them. You were lied to in a big way. Say them. But then what we can do is decide how long we let those lies govern our emotions, how long we let those lies govern our lives, and what we learn from the situation so that we can not perpetuate those same situations moving forward in our future relationships and our future endeavors in life, right? So that's what's in our control. We cannot control their moral compass. We cannot control another person's feelings or opinions of right and wrong. That is fully in their zone of like, do they think something is right or wrong? And that is not for us to say or for us to control. And I think that's kind of the hard part, is that sort of like detachment of like, I don't agree with your behavior, and maybe you even know you're wrong, but you still chose to do it, right? But understanding the only thing we can really do is change our interactions. Do we continue to have a relationship with these people? Do we close doors and move on? Do we continue to let the same cycle happen over and over again? That's the only part we can control. And that's what's really interesting, is understanding that. And don't get me wrong, when you're lied to in a large way, you are going to feel hurt. You're going to feel shame. You're going to feel embarrassment. You're going to feel anger. You're going to feel frustration. You are going to feel a plethora of emotions. And if you're not feeling a plethora of emotions, you're not letting yourself feel those emotions. So please pause in whatever you're doing in life and feel the emotions and be okay with the emotions, because the emotions are super important for you to feel. You have to feel them. You have to work through them. And one of the women that filled out the survey for me specifically said, the only way to get past this is through it. You can't go around it. So if you've been lied to in such a large way, it's important that you pause and you do work through it instead of trying to walk around it and say, well, I'm just going to put some dirt on that one and I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to move forward, right? You need to talk about it. You need to let it out, whether that be with a counselor or doing some deep breath work, or, I've been doing in the kind of week and a half since I figured out this big lie, I have been getting Reiki. I've been doing yoga. I've been surrounding myself with girlfriends. I've been doing sound healing, breath work. I've been hiking and enjoying nature outdoors. Like, I've been healing myself and working through the emotions of this process I'm going through, of this situation I'm going through, right? So it's really interesting to just kind of see, when I spoke to multiple people about it, that was the theme of like, you've got to go through it. You've got to work through it. And the other theme that I saw that I think was huge was follow your gut. People were saying things like, I didn't follow my gut. I knew something was wrong and I ignored it. I've learned now that it's super important to follow my gut, right? Like, that is what people were saying. Like, follow your instinct, follow your gut instinct. In your heart, if situation's giving you anxiety, why is it giving you anxiety? What about it, right? Like, really evaluate how a situation makes you feel, how a person makes you feel, how a relationship makes you feel, and then see if you can start to unravel why it's making you feel that way, if it's not positive emotions, right? So really taking the time to like pause and think and say, okay, what is my gut telling me here? Because your gut is probably right. We just kind of try to like push it down and ignore it, right? So that is a super important thing to recognize for yourself, is like, what red flags, yellow flags did I ignore? What messages from the universe, from my gut, from my intuition did I not listen to, right? What messages from my friends and family did I not listen to, right? Where were these things coming from that you are not listening to? And that is what's really important when we talk about recovering from being lied to and moving forward. Because if you recognize that you have these patterns in your relationships, and you recognize that you are allowing certain behaviors like this to happen, you're going to be able to slow down, listen to your gut a little bit more, and stop these patterns from happening in your life. And that's really important to be able to do, right? So we're going to get lied to, unfortunately, in this day and age. It's just how life is. But what I want you to take away from this episode of Life After Lies is recognize that you're not alone. It's not something to be embarrassed about. You didn't do anything wrong. You were lied to. So you don't need to be embarrassed or ashamed about being lied to. But you do need to process it, and you do need to have the hard conversations. And if you're going to continue a relationship, whatever that relationship be with somebody that lied to you, you're going to need to really get into some counseling and support for that, right? Or you're going to decide to leave said relationship and just realize that that level of lie is too big for you to stay around for, right? And that is a personal thing that I can't tell you what to do or what not to do, right? But I do think it's important that we really evaluate those feelings and those emotions that come up for us when we are lied to, and recognize that there are certain things that we possibly allowed. What behaviors did we notice that we didn't call somebody out on? What patterns were we seeing that were in our gut red flagging us, and we were saying, oh, no, it's okay. Everything's okay. They wouldn't lie to me that way. Right? What were you seeing? What were you avoiding? What were you pretending wasn't happening? And looking back, can you see those things? Because if you can look back and see those things now, then moving forward, you might be able to spot them in future relationships with friends, family, significant others, whatever it be, moving forward. Because chances are, if you allow specific behavior in a romantic relationship, you also allow it in personal relationships, right? So we don't necessarily compartmentalize like how we are treated or what we allow in the way other people treat us, right? So we need to make sure that we are seeing those patterns for ourselves, and we're getting really in tune with our gut and our instincts and how we're going to listen to them. And then I think, okay, on that note, I want to show you guys a book. This book is super rad. The Gift of Fear. It's by Gavin de Becker, and it's called The Gift of Fear. This book can save your life and other survival signals that protect us from violence. So this isn't necessarily just about lies, but this is about like just following your gut is really the best explanation for this book. So really, if you're struggling with following your gut, if you feel like that's not something that you're really in tune with, then this is a great book to read to kind of open your eyes to that bigger picture of things. It's a longer book, but it's a really good read. It's really powerful. He's a retired detective, and his insight on things is incredible. So if you're struggling with that, definitely read that book. Another thing that I'm doing personally is I realize that I don't drink large amounts, but I love wine. And I love a glass of wine at the end of the day. And I also realized that as I was processing some emotions over this last year, specifically over these last week and a half, was I will turn to a glass of wine, 2, maybe 3 on a really bad day, to help me when I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm, missing somebody that is, now not in my life because of lies, right? Like when I'm feeling emotions, I will grab that glass of wine, and what it does is it numbs me and it stops me from feeling those emotions, right? So what can you do to actually get a little bit more in tune with your emotions? So one of the things for me personally is cutting out alcohol. I'm going to do that for a minimum of 6 months and just really process some of the shit I've been through in my life. Not just in the last year, in the last 5 years, but in my life, just really process my emotions so I can move forward with different patterns as I move into future relationships. So that's just something I'm doing. I know it's a little extreme. You don't have to go that extreme, but if you're really feeling like you need to break some patterns, it's a really great thing to do. And then the other thing I do a lot of when I'm in these kind of feelings and I'm trying to process stuff is journal. Get things out of your head, because if they just sit in your head, they're circling in your subconscious, and that's not good for us, right? So get them out of your head, journal, write about it, talk to girlfriends about it, get it out of your head. That is so, so, so important. So a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation, yoga, physical activity for me is huge. Really kind of paying attention to what's going into my body. I've been eating more of a plant-based diet over the last week or so, and just really trying to clean up from the inside out so that I can clean the thoughts and I can move forward with more positive direction. Because, how we treat ourselves is how others are going to treat us, right? So if we're not treating ourselves with respect, then we're allowing other people to come into our lives and treat us with disrespect. And that's not right? But then there's also some essential oils that I use and I love that have been helping me big time through this. So the first one, I'm going to read to you guys some things out of this book. It's called Emotions and Essential Oils, a reference guide of emotional healing. And this is specifically the 7th edition. This is a new one, but you can get it on Amazon. It's a really great book that talks to you about the emotional components of essential oils. So one essential oil that's been kind of by my side over this last little bit is geranium. And geranium's a super strong smell, but oh my God, when you need it, it's good. I like to take it and I like to put it right over my heart. And you could do this alone, or you can mix it with like a peppermint or even like a ylang ylang if you want a real floral. But geranium's great. And geranium is the oil of love and trust. So that's why I kind of grabbed this one while I'm dealing with some forgiveness stuff. It's really good to go and begin to be able to love and trust again. But it restores confidence in the innate goodness of others in the world. It facilitates trust, especially when individuals have lost trust in others due to difficult life circumstances. It also assists in reestablishing a strong bond to one's mother or father. But really, it encourages emotional honesty, love, and forgiveness, and it fosters receptivity to human love and connection. So if you're dealing with a broken heart, if you're feeling like you have a lot of anger or hostility because of some emotional wounds, or you're not allowing other people in to love and trust, let you, like, to even get to the point where you can love and trust them, geranium's a really great one for healing that heartbreak. And then another one I like to put over my heart is Console. And then inside of my wrist too. So Console, the comforting blend. This is a blend of trees and flowers, and it was formulated to assist individuals who are in need of emotional comfort. It soothes emotional pain after periods of extreme stress or trauma. It helps individuals who are burdened by loss, grief, or tragedy. And it really just helps you kind of through the anxiety, the fear, the emotional pain that comes when one heart's broken, whatever that be from. So that's a really great one there. And then when we talk about kind of forgiving a little bit more, the essential oil Forgive is like this is like my jam. This oil I go through so much. But this is called the Renewing Blend. And Forgive is formulated to assist individuals who desire to forgive. It is well understood that forgiving others actually sets one free. This blend is especially helpful when individuals feel cynical or begin to expect the worst from other people. So really, forgiveness is super powerful in lies. And it doesn't mean, when you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that you are validating their actions or you agree with their actions or anything like that. When you forgive someone, what it really means is you're releasing the control they have over you. So if someone lies to you, being able to say, I forgive that person for that lie. They must be struggling really hard in life right now. That was, their way of thinking or their moral code right now. And I'm just going to forgive them for how they treated me and just move on, cut the ties, cut the cords, and move on. So Forgive can really help me with that. It really helps me with the anxiety of the heartbreak and kind of the confidence that I lose when a situation like this happens, right? So that really is good for me. And then another oil that's amazing is thyme. And thyme is good for releasing and forgiving. So thyme is one of the most powerful cleansers of emotional body and assists in addressing trapped feelings, which have been buried for a long time. So if you're dealing with lies that have kind of been deep in you for a longer period of time, maybe you have some cyclical patterns with behaviors, thyme is going to be a really great one for you. You can diffuse this or apply it over your chest or even over your sacral chakra, so below your belly button. And this can be really good if you're dealing with trust issues in a romantic relationship, bottom of your feet even, but I would dilute it if I was putting it on topically. It definitely will feel a little better if you dilute it. Then there's 2 other essential oils that help you kind of gain back your trust. One is Align. It's part of the yoga collection. I forgot to grab that one out of my office over there. But Align calls the soul back into alignment. It reaches gently into the heart space to shift heavy energies that are inhibiting progress and disrupting stillness. While working on the heart center, it recalibrates an individual's inherent integrity and brings into awareness the cost of misalignment. It facilitates the emergence of self-acceptance, openness, and trust. So it allows you to bring love back to your heart. So I like this one over my heart or over my solar plexus, my navel chakra, so right above my belly button or right over my heart when I'm meditating right now, as I'm working through the emotional process of lies and moving past that, right? So that one really helps me. And then the last one I'm going to tell you about is Breathe. So Breathe is the respiratory blend, and Breathe addresses the inability to let go of grief or pain. So if you are holding on to grief or pain or a relationship or a situation and you feel like you just can't breathe, you're anxious and it's just like on your chest, Breathe is a really great one. So I'll actually take Breathe and Align together and I will put them over my chest, over my heart, and then meditate. And that will really help me get some deep breaths, ground myself, really enjoy that combo. So life after lies, really, I think the important thing that I want to kind of just put out there for everybody is we're all lied to at different points in our lives. And many people's gut reaction is to not talk about it, to ignore it, to push it down. And it ends up in your solar plexus, your navel chakra, or even in your sacral chakra. And it can affect every other element of your life. It can affect every other relationship in your life. So I urge you to process the lies, see where you ignored signs of that could have clued you in on what the lies were, or if there were, that there were lies, and know that there was probably some things that you missed. Maybe you're able to see them now, maybe you're not. But yeah, just kind of think about those signs that maybe you missed, those patterns that you're maybe seeing in your life, and see where you can release them. See where you can release the shame and the guilt, right? For yourself. Like, know that you are not in charge of another person's moral compass. It has nothing to do with you. You are not a bad person because someone lied to you. But what you can do is see where you allowed some space for those lies and see what you can do moving forward to not allow them to happen to you in the future. What red flags did you miss? What can you see? What can you change? What patterns did you allow? And just know that, the chance of really having multiple people in your life that are that severe of liars is not really that high, unless you are allowing that behavior. So maybe you're one of those people that wants to fix everybody, wants to make everything better. I'm guilty of doing that in the past, no more. But know that it's everyone's responsibility to care for themselves emotionally and physically. Know that it's everyone's responsibility to follow their own moral code. And all you can do is control yours. And you are not a bad person because you were lied to. You can get through it. You can get through it with grace. You can get through it with dignity. Yeah, you can get through it and find happiness on the other side. And just know that it's about doing the work. It's about working through instead of walking around and ignoring. Because if everything you walk around and ignore stays in you until you process it, and sometimes it all boils over at a really hard point in your life. So don't allow that to happen. Make sure that you're processing it. Make sure you're talking to someone safe, whether that be a counselor or a family member or a friend, or a journal, or use your oils, do all of the above, meditate, get to yoga, get out in nature. Like, take the time to really heal yourself and know that it's okay to feel all the feels, feel all the emotions. It's going to help you move through this and move past this and move forward with your life with sense of, happiness, fulfillment, and the ability to trust again in the future. but know that there's red flags and look for them. But you're a good person, even if you've been lied to. There's no shame in it. It's part of life. And there's bad people out there that don't have high moral codes and think it's okay to use other people's emotions and put their feelings and themselves first. And we should always have ourselves as a priority. But if you're knowingly having yourself as a priority at the detriment of someone else, so you're putting yourself first is actually harming to another person or people in your life, then that's not okay. That's not how we put ourselves first. That's not what we should be teaching our, youngers and our kids and things like that. That's not right. But knowing that you can't control that other people choose to do that, right? So take care of yourself. Process these emotions. If you're dealing with something and you're really struggling with it and you don't have anyone to talk to, dude, message me on Instagram, natural_wellness_tips. We can chat. I got you. I don't want you to be alone, but you are not a bad person because you've been lied to, and you can get through this. Just take this as a lesson to follow your gut a little bit more than maybe you have in the past, and know that you can have everything you want in life. It's all waiting for you. And karma is a hell of a thing. I believe that karma will come back in this life or a future life to those people that have lied to that severe of an extent to people they love. And I don't have to worry about getting revenge or doing things like that because those are negative energies for me. I know the universe will take care of that for me. And karma is a hell of a thing. So just remember that. People will get what's coming to them. And all you can hope is that everyone has a happy, peaceful, loving life. And we all learn lessons from the situations we're in. And we can move forward. We can do it together. So don't be afraid to reach out to your girls, your tribe, your family. Let me know how I can help. Give me a follow over on Instagram. Send me a message if this speaks to you. If you need any support in this area, natural_wellness_tips. And find me on Facebook, Natural Wellness Tips. Or, go ahead and check out that yoga program. It's pretty freaking rad. I'm so excited. I'm actually going to go upload new stretching routine. So a standing stretching routine you can do at work, another stretching routine you can do at home for like low back, hip, mid back pain. I'm going to record some neck stretches and things. So there's going to be some great stuff going up there. So check it out. It is www.naturalwellnesstips.info/vinyasa flow. And leave a review if you have a minute. I hope this spoke to somebody. It was something really passionate to my heart, and it's important to speak about. It's important that we talk about these things instead of just sweeping them under the rug. So happy day. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It always means the world to me that you listen to it. And until next time, namaste.